All right, in this video, we're going to be reviewing the C3 14 by DYU. It's a surprising small bike that actually is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of great uses that we could think of using it for. So we'll be going over all of that, the specs, some ride footage. Let's get started. So as you'll see here, the DYU C3 was one of the easiest bikes I've ever had to unbox and assemble. All I had to do was put on the rear tail light. Once that was put on, then put on some pedals, up and adjust the handlebars, then put on the fender supports on the left and right side of the front wheel. I then decided I wanted to put in some flat out tire seating to make sure I didn't get any flat tires while riding this bike around my area, which has a lot of thorns. After that was installed, then I just tested the electricals, made sure everything was right to where I wanted to be riding the bike as far as the seat and the handlebar adjustments, and I was pretty much ready to ride. All right, so we're walking up to review this DYU C3 14, and the reason why it's a 14 is because we have 14-inch tires in the back here. DYU is known for making these small compact bikes that are just really practical in so many ways that you might be kind of surprised to think about what good use they would have out on the street. But let's go ahead and first talk about some of the features here and some of the specs. And I'm going to start off first with the motor that we have in the back here, because everybody wants to know how fast or what kind of power we got here. And we have a 350 watt motor back here being attached also to 160 millimeter disc brakes. That's the disc there. They're mechanical disc brakes. We don't need hydraulics or something like this because you do have a top speed of about 15 miles an hour. And you do have a range going about maybe 10 to 20 miles depending on how much help that you give it. What's kind of surprising is we have this compact bike that can do so much, this small little bike, and it actually is a lot more comfortable than it really might seem when you're not actually sitting on it. Some of the things I do and do not like about the bike, and the stuff I don't like is, very minor. It can be easily changed out. And I'm going to start with these pedals. Okay, so first of all, these are basic nylon plastic pedals, and the only thing I can say about these pedals is I wish they made it foldable. Really, really minor feature, but when you have a compact bike like this that you're going to be probably storing away a lot, which is why a lot of people might want it for a condo or to stick in the trunk of a car or even in the back seat. It'll easily fit in the back seat of a dual cab truck. Foldable pedals make a huge difference on the width of the bike. So what I mean by the width is if you look at how wide this bike is now, the widest points really are the handlebars and the pedals that are on both sides here. The only difference is when the handlebars come down and fold it in, you only have your pedals sticking out there, and those will sometimes snag onto things. So I would say that's the only thing I really don't care for. Everything else for what this bike is made for is absolutely perfect, and I really do like it. Now, I'm 5'5", and I do have the seat extended all the way to the top here, so keep that in mind. You don't get full pedal extension, but I can put my feet on the ground, which is kind of what I want when a bike this small. What's really interesting, they actually put a rack on something like this too. So that is really cool because a lot of bikes this size will not have racks. Now there's not a lot of weight capacity on it, but you really can carry like your lunchbox or your backpack, laptop, something that's, just not too large. Your jackets and those type of things can be easily put on the back there for you. We do have a easy controlling system here. In fact, when I bring the bike down, I'll go in there. I want to go in and take advantage of the fact that we have it elevated. I can show you some of the other closer parts here. We have, again, your 160 millimeter disc brakes in the front here. They're mechanical, and again, at 15 miles an hour, you don't really need a whole bunch of extra, hydraulic brakes. So this works perfectly fine. I'm really glad they also added some fenders, because a lot of times if you're in city riding, you might ride over some, gutter areas that have water flowing that'll keep you from getting a little dirty there, which is really just perfect. I have 14-inch tires at 2.125 inches, which is just perfectly a nice size for that. At 35 to 45 PSI max rating here. I keep it about 40 so that we have as much efficiency as possible without being solid, hard riding. And it rides very comfortably for what it's made for. Actually, it's a really good size there. Now we have a 7.5 amp hour battery in here, which gives about, and a 1.5 amp chargers. So it doesn't take very long to recharge this little battery, and it does last quite a while. You know, as far as distances goes, again, you could probably get anywhere from 10 to 15, up to 20 if you're helping it. We went for about, I think, a 7-mile ride today, so that will bring me to about 75% from what I was able to see, and it seems pretty accurate is what we're actually getting here. Now, what's really also nice about this little bike is that we do have integrated lights both in the tail light and in the headlight. I'll have some footage that will be added on from the unboxing in the garage where you can see how clearly the lights work and how that operates. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this cockpit here that we have on the top. And this is really the whole length of the bike handlebars. So it's quite small, and it is wide enough where it doesn't feel too squirrely. It just comes with a basic reflector for the front, but a quick release here, and you can adjust the whole handlebar system to very quick setting on where you want your handlebars to be in position with your brakes. Now, here's your control system. It does come also with this bell. You know, perfect for sidewalk riding without scaring somebody to death when you're actually coming up behind them. And here's your power button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up the camera a little bit. Keep your eye on here because this is where your rating is. By turning on the power, you have these LED lights that go on to tell you how much indication you have. Now, we are at about 50% rating. It's probably a little below 50% because of the amount we've ridden today, but it does actually give you at least some indicator about how much you have of your capacity of your battery. What's really cool is we have this button here as well. Now this is a button, if you hold down for a few seconds, what happens is it will turn on your headlights. And it's about a 5-second hold. The headlights should be on now at this point, so let's go take a look here. Yeah, we have it on. And what's also really nice is that also does turn on your tail light. So at night, you now have a tail light, which a lot of the other models did not really worry about putting something like this, but this is going to be a longer range type of commuter. Now this button, again, holding it down for a few seconds, it does also turn off the light there. But with the light off, if I do press the brake, you do get a brake light. Now it is a blinking brake light, so I'm holding down the brakes now, so you do see that actually working right now, which is a nice feature for even a small bike like this, because at night, any extra visibility, especially with lights, is going to be very helpful to keep you safe. Again, it does have only a 15-mile-an-hour top range or top speed, and the weight capacity recommended is at 165 pounds. I'm at 172, and we went riding today. It's not like you're going to have any issues being a little heavier, but just keep in mind that it's not going to be as efficient on your riding if you're anything above the recommended capacity range. Now, this bike is also completely UL rated. If you do want to make it even more compact, it does have a neck that's folding. So this is your safety latch here, which I already had open because I was folding it and unfolding it. And let's see if I can do it with one hand. By bringing this down and opening it up, then you have this handlebar that will fold down like this. Okay, so we have it folded down at this point here, and if you're looking from this side, this is how thin the bike is. And look at how tall it is, because if I take off the seat, in fact, let me put the seat all the way down, because then you can see this bike gets really, really compact, because you can even remove the seat if you wanted to. But look how short that is. I mean, this is a really short bike at this point. You can imagine it can be stored anywhere. I mean, this is probably about 2.5 feet tall only, if even, you know, I mean, yeah, about 2.5 feet, maybe 2 feet. So it's definitely less than a yard. So it's definitely under 3 feet. So you're gonna have this really compact bike that you can put anywhere. And at 45 pounds, you can see me lifting up this bike in the shot that I'm gonna be adding in here. It's very light, that you can go ahead and carry it up a stairs if you need to, or take it into an apartment building and put it in a closet. You can stick it under a desk for sure. No problem with that whatsoever. You know, you have a single chain. There is no gearing on this. It's just a single gear, because you don't need anything more than that. And even at 15 miles an hour, you could do some pushing to help the bike along. Oh, the other thing that's really interesting is, I thought this was kind of cute, but it added actually a place to put a license plate. I guess some cities that require that, you're going to be needing to put a license plate there, you can. It has a plate holder. The assembly basically was assembling this onto it, which is just using a very small 10mm wrench to put that nut together on there. All right, so the other part that we have here is this is a multi-function button. So if you are actually maintaining a certain speed, so let's go ahead and turn this on. As you can see, the wheels are spinning. And once you get a certain speed, you hit this and let go. I'm not holding the throttle at all, but you notice the wheel is still spinning. And that is because it has a cruise control built into it. And with this cruise control, you also have motor cutoffs. So that's something that's really cool too, to make sure that you're not fighting with the motor here. These extra cables here are actually motor cutoffs for the bike to basically disengage the motor as soon as you hit the brake. It also disengages the cruise control. And this is a kind of a nice feature to have cruise control on such a small bike like this. You don't, well, once you start going and you want to hit that speed that you want to maintain, just push that button. You can let go of the throttle. It'll just keep on going forward. You can pedal along with it to help it if you feel necessary. That is a great additional feature to it. And I want to make just one small last comment about the features of this bike here, being on the design, having a step through, being so low to the ground here that you don't really, I mean, although the bike is already really short, you could lean it over and swing your leg over. You don't have to. You can actually put your leg through there to get started and sit on the bike. The other thing is, I do like it that I can actually sit on the bike and put both my feet down while sitting on the seat and still get a decent ride out of being so close to the pedals, where most of the time if I'm going to have my feet touching the ground, I would actually have to be off of the seat on most of the other bikes. Again, this is a great small mini city commuter. Great to actually, if you have maybe times where you would like to park further away because you don't have parking in your area and you need to walk after you park, this is a great way to go ahead and leave something in your trunk to go ahead and do that. It does add a lot of extra mobility for those who need ways to get around longer distances just to jump on. You know, it goes about 15 miles an hour at top speed, but at an 8-mile-an-hour cruise, you could get around without any problems whatsoever. All right, so here's something I wanted to share about this bike and the interesting, cool things about why even a bike this small with a battery as small as it is, people might be wondering, hey, if it's that small, I don't want the battery to die on me. But if you live in a flat area and you're not really having to worry about hills and your battery does die, you can go quite a bit on zero power. The bike is now currently off and it doesn't hardly take any effort to pedal around. So even if the battery does die, it's still a bicycle. And it does have gearing that makes it really easy to go ahead and pedal on your own. Or if you don't want to pedal and say you want to just use it as an extra added support for your walk because you want to walk, just lower the seat and you could literally be walking or cruising down the street like this, and you could get a lot of mileage off of just even one leg, right? And it's still a lot easier than walking. It really is, because your wheels are still moving. So that's something to keep in mind. Even if your bike dies, it's still a bike, and it's so light at 45 pounds, you're not going to have any issues. Now, if you have a hill, you might want to walk it, but remember, it's only 45 pounds, and you can easily move it around pretty light or just walk it like this as you're going through. And then that's not an issue. So much versatility with a bike like this. So this is, again, the DYU C3 14. And it's a fantastic little bike, a lot of fun. Highly recommend taking a look at it. You can see this bike down below using the link ebikeproducts.com/C3. Again, that's ebikeproducts.com/C3. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.